A wraith? That's improbable. They cannot manifest far from their wretched corpse. Only the Yazidi knew how to... Oh, the Yazidi. As a bookish child, I accidentally intoned a death curse that claimed my mother, our neighbors, and a passing couple in the street, though it spared their small russet dog. I was young and needed the knowledge. Carter, this is why I saw something of myself in you. A great and terrible power to be shaped with the care I never had.
That's not really encouraging, sir.
I assure you that your magic has almost certainly not caused any immediately fatal injuries. This loose end has become a hangman's noose. Exorcising the wraith calls for a ritual sacrifice. My ritual sacrifice.
No way.
No bloody way.
In fact, it is the only way. In the realm of the Peacock King, blood calls for blood. Such is the price of foolish magic. I should like that for my epitaph.
This isn't gonna happen, HJ. Obviously, I defer to your massive brain on most matters of the occult, but the only object lesson happening today is you learning about compromise.
That sounds painful.
Less painful than making a pentacle from your entrails.
You remembered the very book of curses. Truly a model student.
At least the War Golem's still in formaldehyde.
Huh. It's funny you should mention that.
Funny, comical, or funny peculiar?
I don't really understand the phrase. I was auditioning it for future personable conversation.
Mixed success, then.
We have all seen the reanimated corpses of recently deceased staff, felt pathos at those once great minds leaking from vacant orbits.
I think I'm gonna be sick.
I have also witnessed professors of an older vintage making their agonizing way through the halls. Historically, many faculty members were convinced to donate their mortal remains to the Academy ahead of their untimely deaths, for the betterment of knowledge. I believe their knowledge is now being perverted by some vandalous hand. One that plays them like fleshy puppets to access areas most forbidden. We possess an Illuminati War Golem from the 1600s, purely for reference purposes. The school records of its last activation make for gruesome, albeit entertaining, reading. Such an activation would require a full faculty meeting.
So, this could get worse before it gets better?
Oh no. I shouldn't think it would get better.
Hey, can I talk to you? Chosen one to, chosen one, about a big problem. Obviously not as big a problem as all the other big problems you guys are dealing with outside those walls. But still, help? Okay, so the practical alchemy class keeps racks of replacement familiars hung up in the basement. At least a dozen for every student. It's called practical alchemy for a reason. It's not as gross as it sounds. Okay, it pretty much is as gross as it sounds. Now they're waking up. A whole army of creepy dolls right under our feet. Miss Escher and Mr. Montague want me on the bench for this game, and I know it's to keep their star player from getting injured mid-season. But it feels more like being in the penalty box. I want to step up to bat. I want to help out. I can use my powers. The really freaky ones. You know, they warded the school from the inside because of me. I'm tired of being scared of it, being made sick by it. Maybe that's how my powers want to be used. For me to just say the words and tear it all down. Look, if I set it off, I kinda need someone to make sure I can stop again. Like a chaperone. It's not quite the Halloween prom, but... well, that's where this all started. Worst prom night ever.
I don't spook easy. I've spent nights in houses so filled with spirits I had to perform exorcisms to take a dump. That burned house up there. The Black House. That place got me breaking out in goosebumps. Not spooked, not that, but affected. In a bad way. It's a cold place. Funny thing with that house. It wasn't haunted before the locals made it so. They were so afraid of witchcraft. They never gave a single thought to what witchcraft does and doesn't do. After the house burned down, they got far worse than magic to contend with. Anyone walked within 100 yards could feel it, like nails on a blackboard. You look for evil in people. Sooner or later, you'll find it. Even when it wasn't there in the first place.
Finally. Are you with Grayson Security? I've been trying to get a hold... No. You wouldn't happen to have a helicopter, would you? Of course not. This is private property, but I won't belabor the fact. I'm not particularly attached to it. Who in their right mind would want an abandoned amusement park on a godforsaken island in the Atlantic? Aside from Nathaniel Winter, of course. Yeah, that Nathaniel Winter. Millionaire. Mogul. Also, as it turns out, theme park tycoon. Nathaniel brought me up here during construction. And even then, there were accidents. Workers falling to their deaths. Equipment malfunctioning as soon as it was turned on. Strange whispers at night, according to the crew, coming from the rides themselves. But he was a stubborn son of a bitch, my father. The park opened against all odds right on schedule. Whole island showed up for the ribbon cutting. But the accidents continued. A roller coaster derailed, killing a family of 3. A 10-year-old kid was found, dismembered, behind the cotton candy stand. An employee in a chipmunk costume went berserk, stabbing 2 teenagers in the eye. By 1980, Nathaniel was forced to shut it all down. There were investigations. It was all over the papers. So he closed up shop. Stayed behind while my mother and I went back to Boston. Never saw the son of a bitch again. I remember Nathaniel telling me once, after the bumper cars crushed one of the engineers, that this was all par for the course. Great deeds require great sacrifice, he said. Next time I saw my father, he was in a casket. He outlived everyone and left me nothing of his fortune. Except... I don't want his money. And I didn't ask for the park, neither. All I want is answers. You can say a lot about Nathaniel Winter, but he never made a bad investment or a rash decision. So why in God's name did he build this park? I've heard them. At night. The rides? They do whisper. Where the hell is it? I know I left it right. Oh, God, the stench. To my son, Nicholas James Winter, blah, blah, blah. Where is it? I leave my masterpiece, the Atlantic Island Park, to be restored according to my original plans? What fucking plans, Dad? How did it go? Don't tell me. I'm not blind or deaf. I don't believe it's a coincidence those things are drawn to the rides. The fog came the day we got here. I was supposed to fly in, but the airport was closed. So we drove all the way up from Portland. Less than an hour later, it rolled in like an avalanche. Wahid here decided to stay in the car. I headed for the highest place I could find. I didn't think of it at the time, What with those animals at my feet. But it's weird that the wheel's still working after all this time. I can't imagine the power's still on. At least not the electrical power. But that's not what this place runs on, is it? He stayed behind, my father, Nathaniel Winter, when everyone else left. And not because he didn't have anything else. He had his empire, his money, my mother. He had me. But this is the only thing he wanted. It kept him alive for over a century. It gave him power. I'm still not convinced he's not here. Somewhere, feeding on the ghosts of lost children like some kind of bogeyman. What the hell are you looking at? This is private property, you know.
Blessed are the meek, but doubly blessed are those who do the Lord's work boldly. It is through His grace that we find sanctuary in His house, when His house is besieged by zombies. Not to belittle the Lord's work, but perhaps the Illuminated Ones made this place a safe place through some conjuration of theirs. Blessed by the Lord, of course, or at the very least tolerated. Whatever the providence of our sanctuary, it extends no further than the doorstep. Even the cemetery spills over with the devil's spawn. I've tried prayer, I've tried my 44, but Satan's wearing Kevlar, and Bible thumping just pisses them off. Kingsmouth is a book of secrets, an illuminated manuscript waiting for those who would read between the lines. I've seen it spelled out, the hidden truth of this blighted Garden of Eden. For are we not seekers of knowledge, you and I? Even a man of God can have his eyes open to further enlightenment and illumination. To be illuminated under the eye. The pyramid? The Illuminati. I'm with the Illuminati. I don't have a badge or anything like that. I'm what you might call a hobbyist member. But I earned it. I did extensive research on the net. The code words I followed led me to forums. Secret forums. Forums that don't show up on Google. And I'm an avid poster. A valued poster. I know there are paths in Kingsmouth not on any map. The work of the Illuminati is everywhere. A secret gospel, chapter and verse throughout the town. Signs and formulae. That's why you're here, isn't it? Now, my work is not exhaustive. There are elements of our grand plan I may have overlooked. Tiny, tiny details still left unexplored. I trust we have each other's disclosure. Ah, there's a glint to your eyes that I recognize from the bathroom mirror. You've walked Kingsmouth's secret trails, yes? What was it like? Was it illuminating? Were you enlightened? If it weren't for circumstance and my duty to the Lord, I would join you, document your expedition. Although, those are not the only paths. Some run deeper, more hidden. Tap your foot on any paving stone down Main Street, and you might hear the echo of Illuminati history. Oh yes, Solomon Priest and Isaac Fletcher put this soil to work when they raised Kingsmouth above and below. Why, the whole of Solomon County is positively riddled with tunnels. But I wouldn't expect most people to notice. They're too enclosed by their simple lives to comprehend the secret world around them, below them. You can't stop now. I know that feeling intimately. The desire to keep digging. That glint won't fade. The restlessness in your heart won't slow. The voices won't fall silent. Dig further. Dig deeper. Always deeper.